people like Starmer are coming out and saying, oh, we didn't ask for Graeme Linhan to be arrested. I've been calling for a while now, and it would mean some hardship for us. I've been saying for a while we need Trump and Vance to put economic sanctions on this country. It just goes to show how two-tier this justice system really is. In fact, it's not even a justice system. The injustice system is.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Nick Talks. This episode's multi-returning guest, that press and journalist. How you doing, Ash?
Really good, Nick. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You would have seen the other day a comedic writer, Graeme Linhan, arrives in Heathrow Airport, lands, and he's not only arrested for tweets, he's arrested by 5 armed police officers. This middle-aged comedian who hasn't got a history of violence, who's just got off a plane, so he's got no weapons on him. No, it's not like they're meeting him in the street, but 5 armed officers meet him and arrest him for 3 tweets. For 3 tweets, he's supposed to have tweeted while he was in a foreign continent and is arrested. What's going on there, mate?
What do you expect? Starmer's Britain, isn't it? And what's even worse, of course, he's not even a UK citizen. He's actually an Irish citizen, so he's not even part of the UK. And they've still picked him up for it. 5 armed police officers to arrest, I think he's in his 50s, a 50-odd-year-old man who's no danger to anybody. He was left in such shock that he actually got his blood pressure taken and was in stroke territory and had to be taken to A&E. He was questioned for hours by these armed police. And actually, it's quite, it couldn't have come at a worse time for Starmer, could it? Because Linehan's arrest coincided with Farage going over to America and testifying in front of Congress, which was even worse for Starmer. But what's interesting about the Linehan story is Starmer came out and said, and Streeting, by the way, said, we don't agree with this. We want to, we should change the law, stop the police doing this, police the streets and not tweets and all that stuff. Yet Mark Rowley from the Met Police, who I've also got no time for, came out and said, no, this was the government. They forced us to do this. So who the hell's telling the truth here? I think they're both lying scumbags, but I honestly don't. I don't know who's lying the least. Is it the police that? Is it the police that are sending in armed police officers to arrest one guy for 3 tweets, or is it the government telling them to do so, and the police don't want to do it?
I think it's both.
But I've got absolutely no doubt that, I've got absolutely no doubt that the Met quite enjoyed doing it, and that Starmer and Cooper and all the rest also quite enjoyed doing it, and none of them want to admit it, especially with Farage being out in America. They are scared to death of what he's going to say out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what happens with the police is that, as you know, and as everybody knows, as everybody who's had a crime committed against them, they all know. You phone the police up, and most of the time you don't get a service. You get a crime reference number. They don't investigate. It goes straight to a stats. No one looks into it because they haven't got the resources. And that's always been the case to a certain extent. So I'm not blaming them for that. You know, if you've got murderers, you've got people phoning up saying they're being murdered, and you've got someone phoning up saying my car's being broken into, I can see it through the window. Where do you send your resources? So we know where they send the resources. That's acceptable. So the police make certain decisions themselves, police forces. They made that decision to go arrest him with armed police. They made that decision. They could have said, we've registered the reports that someone feels in danger by him cracking a joke about punching a trans woman in the balls. Not saying that's right or wrong, but someone's complained about that. That could have been dealt with. We've logged that now. We're going to write to him. We're going to visit him at his home. The police hierarchy made a decision that we're going to arrest him the second he lands in the UK. That's amazing. And I didn't realize what you just said. He's Irish. He's an Irish citizen. So this means, and this is what Farage just said in America, this means any American citizen landing at Heathrow Airport, if they've ever said anything on social media that the British government doesn't like, they can be arrested by armed police officers, just like Linehan. This is going from bad to worse.
It's complete overreach. Who the hell do they think they are? And, these people are just so despicable that they're more bothered about stuff like this than they are about actually solving crime or solving the migrant crisis, whatever it might be. Their priority just seems to be shut people up. That's all it is. Unfortunately, the genie is completely out the bottle now. There is no putting this back. Have you noticed, by the way, connected to this, that all these protests are going on the streets up and down the country? There's, I don't condone this, but there's mosques being vandalised, saying Muslims go home and all sorts, right? Where's Starmer calling everyone far right now? Why is he not in the press saying you're all far right thugs? This is racism. We're going to protect these people. We're going to do this. You notice that he's not out there. In fact, he's doing the opposite. He's going on telly saying, "Oh yeah, I've got Union flags and St George's crosses all over my house." There's somebody telling him, "You best keep your trap shut here because something big is happening." And if you say a word against these people, you're going to make things 10 times worse. They don't want to repeat a Southport because that they'll never live that down now anyway. That's going to cost them big time, regardless of when the next general election comes. So now, what they're doing is basically trying to keep their mouths shut because they can see how despised they are. They can see how much nobody believes a word they say. Usually, when something like this happens, you've got people like Yvette Cooper and others at pains to point out that the police have operational independence. We didn't get involved. It was the chief constable. It was Mark Rowley. It was somebody else. It's nothing to do with us. All of a sudden, they don't want to say anything. So I want to know. I want to know, like you, who made this decision to arrest him, and it's probably both.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it'll be both, and if it's not both, it's both of them not wanting to change the way it's always been. So I've just followed the same thing they always do. Complaints coming, it's about a trans person, let's go arrest them. And the police are probably thinking the government are going to slap us on the back for this. And suddenly the government's going, we didn't want that. And the police are going, well, we didn't get the memo. We didn't get the memo that you're changing your opinion now. You need to tell us what you want us to do. I've been in those rooms where those conversations have been had 20 years ago at much lower levels, where politicians and chief constables are at odds. And the chief constable is basically saying, put it in writing what you want me to do, and I'll do it. Let's jump to Farage. Farage in America, in front of Congress. Now, what would have happened a week ago if he was a week earlier was the Democrats would have said to him, Nigel, you're lying. Can you give me an example of government overreach for free speech in the UK? They didn't say that to him now because he would have said, today, an Irish citizen was arrested at Heathrow Airport for tweeting. So they couldn't ask him that. And Farage also said, I believe, I think this is what I've read, that he wanted to bring Lucy Connolly with him. But part of her bail conditions or release conditions is she can't leave the country. So he couldn't take her. And then he's had lots of criticism online from the left going, he calls himself a patriot. He's going to America telling tales, making us look bad. And my answer to that, which I typed online, was we need more daylight. We need to talk about our problems. Not talking about our problems led to the rape and grooming of hundreds of thousands of poor white girls because we covered it up for the sake of reputation, diversity. Him going somewhere else and talking about the things going wrong in our country is painful to hear. I'm a little bit embarrassed, but my God, he should be doing it because it's the only way we're going to improve.
Yeah, and did you notice? I don't know if you watched it or not. PMQs. Starmer made a point. And once again, it's stupid. This he does it every week. He's so pathetic. He made the point of saying, "Oh, I see there's no member from Clacton here today. He's in America, bad mouthing this country." I'm like, no, he's not bad mouthing it. You're shitting yourself because he is bad mouthing you. He's bad mouthing you way you're running this country. That's what it is. And he gets a one-on-one meeting with Trump. He gets to sit in front of Congress. He will no doubt meet JD Vance, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all these other people with big voices who can put the word around America as to what is happening over here. I've been calling for a while now, and it would mean some hardship for us. I've been saying for a while we need Trump and Vance to put economic sanctions on this country, put tariffs on this country, cancel the trade deal, force these people, if you need to, out of government, or force them into a U-turn on the stupid clampdown on free speech. That's the only way we're going to get what we want. I never thought I'd have to ask a foreign leader to help this country, but that is exactly what we need at the moment. And we need those people, and we need Farage over there, sorry, to be shining a light on all of this. And if you look at the American media now, look at people on social media from America, it's all they're talking about. The demise of Britain, the demise of free speech in this country. And that's why people like Starmer are coming out and saying, oh, we didn't ask for Graeme Linhan to be arrested. Oh, I'm not calling everybody far right. We do have free speech in this country, but I'm afraid it's rubbish. Starmer's saying he's bad mouthing us, he's going to get sanctions put on the country. No, you're doing that. And Labour's latest line is Farage isn't patriotic. Like, he's done more for this country than you ever have. Even if it is from the sidelines and getting people to have votes on things, taking us out of the EU, etc. He's been more influential than all of you lot put together. So don't give me this not patriotic line when you're the very people that take the knee for BLM, fly your Palestinian flags, hold your refugee welcome signs up, but you were never, until about a year ago or so, they were never seen in front of a Union Jack or a St George's Cross. So don't give me this shit all of a sudden that you care about Britain because you don't.
Oh yeah, it's all about shutting Farage up. They don't want our dirty laundry being aired on American TV because the Starmer still wants to be seen as an international leader. He still wants to be seen as a globalist leader, and this is damaging his reputation. Going back to Trump and America putting sanctions on the UK, I get your point, but we need to be really careful. I spoke to a Canadian YouTuber last week or 2 weeks ago called Mark Slapinski. He's a journalist in Toronto, and he was basically saying the sanctions Trump put on Canada was the reason why the Canadian Liberal Party won the election and Mark Carney won the election. He said it damaged it. It damaged the Tories, the Conservatives over there, because they were more connected to Trump. And the attack line was America's attacking us because of the Conservatives. So, and you can imagine yourself, if this country is under attack, I don't care who is attacking this country, I'm against them. So we would need to be careful that we don't make things worse just because we don't like this Labour government. But I mean, it's just something worth thinking about, making things worse. Unintended consequences, they call it. But I think it's great that Farage is over there. That Farage is telling the American people how bad this country is. And if we can arrest Linehan, I mean, let's be honest, two of our friends, two of our fellow YouTubers who we know really well have been arrested and are on bail at this moment in time because of things they said on YouTube, which was absolutely nothing. One of them was a joke about string Starmer up. That's a saying, string him up. It's a saying. And the other one, Craig Houston, I don't even know what he said because he doesn't want to talk about it in case it makes his case even worse. But I know both of them. You know them better than me. These aren't people talking about violence. These aren't people calling for violence. These are just two middle-aged men having a chat online.
No, it's pathetic. And there's absolutely no merit to any of it. But meanwhile, proper crime doesn't get solved. Prisoners are being released earlier and earlier. They're going to bring in new softer guidelines now for sentencing, which means thousands more criminals will not even get sent to prison. You've got paedophiles, Hugh Edwards being the case in point, and many others who commit these horrendous crimes, and maybe not just children, but also, can I say the R word on this channel? Yeah, say rapes, etc. And they don't go to prison. They get community orders, or they get suspended sentences for a couple of years. Meanwhile, if you put a bad tweet out, you get five armed police meeting you at Heathrow Airport, or you get sent to prison for 31 months like Lucy Conley, or you get a civil conviction like Tommy Robinson, and you go down for was it 15 months or whatever it was. He was in solitary confinement for. It just goes to show how two-tier this justice system really is. It's not even a justice system. The injustice system is in this country now. The judges are captured, the courts are captured, the politicians are captured, the police are captured. And as I said, if Reform win this next election, whether you want them to or not, if they win it, there's only one way they can succeed in this country. Because as soon as they get in office, they're going to have to face down the civil service, the House of Lords. They're going to have to face down all the other politicians and all the left-wing institutions in this country. And I can't remember who said this, but they're absolutely right. The very first thing they've got to do on day one is put 500 people into the House of Lords and give themselves a clear majority to try and get anything through that upper chamber. and then you can try and get rid of some of the civil servants. Fair enough, you can't really sack them as such, but you can say we're not working with this person, bring us somebody else, something like that. But you've got to start moving things around because we've been stuck in this Blair era ever since '97, and nothing's ever changed. Blair and his lot were very clever to enshrine things into law that are very difficult to unpick. But what needs to happen now? The Tories didn't bother; they were happy to just carry on with the Blairite era. We need now people who are going to come in and repeal everything pretty much that was done after '97 and start taking us all back to a normal country again and change the institutions of this country. And if that means the solutions that I've said in the past, you bring in your own civil servants every time a new party wins an election, something along those lines, then that's what we need to do. Do we have politically appointed judges? We may as well do. Because the judges in there now are mostly left wing anyway. The judge who ruled for the Epping in favour of Epping Council was a former Conservative candidate. He ruled in favour of a Conservative council. So it works both ways. We've got political judges. You may as well do what the Americans do and let the Prime Minister appoint his own judges for the time that he's in office. And then the next person that comes along can do the same for them. I don't like the idea of it, but we're there now. We've got a politicised judiciary, a politicised police force. So you may as well just go the whole hog and go the full American system.
Yeah, I mean, in America, it's a Supreme Court that the president elects the judges. All other judges in the country are elected by the people.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Because my mate's an American, and I've seen his ballot paper. It was 32 pages because they're electing everybody, all the judges, all the top officials, the sheriff. They're electing everybody. And when I first saw that, I thought, what a stupid system.
Oh, there's massive downsides to it.
Yeah, but then you look at our system at the moment and you think, well, could it be any worse than ours? But it's absolutely crazy. But free speech is disappearing. The only good point is the people are waking up. The people can see what's going on now. More people are demonstrating, more people are upset, more people are angry, and the government is doing more and more authoritarian things because they're afraid of losing power. They can see power slipping from their fingers, and they're doing what all authoritarian regimes do at the end. They become hardened, they become more cruel. It's the only way they think they can survive. But there's a line in Star Wars where I think it's Princess Leia says to Darth Vader, the tighter your grip, the more solar systems will slip through your fingers. And that's exactly what's happening now.
Yeah, honestly, I keep saying it on my videos. Watch out for this general election in May. Tell you, it's looking, as far as I'm concerned, it's looking more and more likely with every single passing day. These lot are on the verge of collapse. There's absolutely no question about it. They can't even, apparently there was a ministerial reshuffle planned for next week. Now they can't even do that because of the Rayner situation. Because they don't know what's going to happen with her. You know, there's so much going on around these people. Yes, politicians are scandal ridden. There's always something coming out about one of them doing something wrong. But I've never known one like this. Honestly, to have a homeless minister that makes people homeless, to have a corruption minister that gets done for corruption, a transport minister that had been in the office for 2.5 minutes and they found out that she'd committed fraud with a mobile phone. You know, now you've got a housing minister that's buying multiple houses but wants to tax other people so they can't do so. You've got Starmer accusing people of sleaze and it turns out he takes more freebies than anybody else in Parliament. You couldn't make these people up.
And then you've got the Chancellor who told everybody she was an economist. Turns out she lied. There's also someone in the party who said they were a solicitor.
Jonathan Reynolds, say he was a solicitor. Yeah, he was never a solicitor. Complete bullshitters, lots of them. Honestly, it's just ridiculous. And that's what comes from this system that we have, isn't it? These people aren't any better than you or I. In fact, they're probably significantly worse. All they do is win a popularity contest every 5 years for a comparatively small amount of people. You know, if you can get a majority like these lot on just 20% of the electorate, then the system is broken. There's no set working hours for these people. There's no qualifications needed. All you need is the gift of the gab every 5 years to stay in your job. You don't need brains. You don't need life experience. Nothing. And that's why you end up with health secretaries who've never worked in health. You end up with transport secretaries that have never worked in transport. You end up with a cabinet now where the only person that's worked in the private sector is Rachel Reeves. But she's actually the best they've got. You know, how frightening is that? She is actually the only person on paper qualified to work in finance, and look at the bollocks she's made of the entire thing. It's sad to say, she is the best they've got. God, that if that doesn't give you food for thought, then I don't know what does.
Ash, you cheered me up with an election in May, and then just as I started smiling, you pulled me right back down to earth with Rachel Reeves is the best we've got. Yeah, I was on such a high, and I've gone to such a low
And I went on a rant there, didn't I?
in literally 2.5 seconds. But you're completely right. But I hope you're right with the election. Early election would suit me down to the ground because we need change, and this can't go on. Ash, thanks so much as always for coming on, sharing your thoughts, and I'm going to hold you to an early election next year.
Fingers crossed.
See you later.
Cheers, bye.